to you. Today is Monday, January 26th, 2026, and my name is Francisco Gaffney, and this is my daily streaming all about governance, risk, compliance, and advisory boards. So, if you sit on a UK listed board or any other board, probably you felt this already. A strategy that looked fine on paper, and then the distribution channel shifts. And I mean the things you depend on to reach audiences and convert them. So search engine algorithm changes, referral traffic drops, ad rates soften, measurement rules tighten. Well, the numbers start to wobble and everything scrambles. So the context for this week is a live listed London Stock Exchange company that I'm watching and I'm using as an example. And this is the context of all our conversation. So their core business is a digital media publishing group focused on gamers, trading cards, gaming enthusiasts and entertainment news, and it runs a network of own websites monetized through advertising, brand partnerships, and e-commerce. So the biggest change that they went through is completely transition away from esports, the sports where they have people or individuals playing games as any sport competition, to esports solutions and software development, and they change or transition to pure play digital media model alongside a significant cost reduction program and a linear operation setup. So that's the context, that's the company we're talking about and the lessons that we learn observing them. So today is about a hidden factor behind whether your growth plan survives that moment of transition. I'm not here to criticize, I'm here to share and give you, from an advisory perspective, a few board-ready suggestions to pressure test your own plans. So you can take some hints here and test it on your own company and to see how things go. So let's take a look at three problems with this company situation. Problem number one is the online platform shock can give you out or can wipe out the progress faster than teams can react. So in this particular company, they reported in FY25 revenues down by 55% and losses for 100K or so. So this is where strategy meets reality looks like in a reporting terms, like revenues down and losses. Problem number two is that operation pain show up as forced restructuring, not as a tidy roadmap. So you have to restructure because actually as you mentioned, 55% down revenues. So in FY24 reporting, this particular company, the board said to reduce the monthly cost base by 70K or something like that and establish monthly revenues after digital media headwinds linked to Google algorithm changes and weaker ad rates. See, dependencies is a key word here. So we're going to explore that further down in our conversation today. And problem number three is cash constraints turn into an enemy. So the same year they reported cash in hand very small amounts, and also they rise via equity and loan notes. That is the governance reality of a runway. So you have a transformation process and the cash is tight or even doesn't exist anymore, so you have to raise to continue operating. So in other words, imagine a growth plan without resilience is a sport car with a cracked radiator or a crack in a pipe in a cooling system. So the speed looks great. Right after it doesn't anymore because actually the engine is overheat and cannot keep the compression enough to continue at the pace of the race and the speed and the power that it needs. So what is a hidden factor that we mentioned? Is not the vision. The vision actually is very good. Is the ability to keep operating, investing, and complying when the online platform rules change beneath you and the numbers move faster than your team can react, right? So, and here we mentioned dependency before. So if all your distribution channels, if all your customers are depending on algorithms, AI, and many of these things are tricked now by AI, in both sides, from your side as a provider and also the suppliers of those platforms, for example, Google algorithms, etc. So it's like we mentioned last week, the dependency on a company that 36% of the revenue was based on one customer. So here, your dependency, or this particular company dependency as a lesson, if you may, is the dependency on online platforms. And here's something that is coming from the Competition and Market Authority. They say the competition is not working well in online platforms and digital advertising, and it flags transparency and market power issues that affect outcomes. So you don't need to agree with every detail to make the to take the implications seriously. If your business sits downstream and of offline platforms and online platforms, not offline, online platforms, and digital advertising, pretty much your design is for volatility because you cannot control the algorithms or whatever changes they are doing now with AI. So, as a board advisor, what I would propose to consider in this case, if this particular dependencies on online platforms, separate growth targets from survivability targets. Ask two questions in your board every month. What happens if revenue halves next quarter? And the second question is what cost flex automatically? This particular company explicitly moved to a linear model and pointed to a lower monthly cost base as a stabilizer. The second thing I would suggest is to treat channel dependency as a governance risk, not as a marketing issue, right? If your revenue depends on a small number of offline platforms, you are exposed to changes beyond your control. And we mentioned already the Competition and Market Authority work is very useful board prompt because it describes structural features that can squeeze publishers. And suggestion number three is force clarity on the operating model, not just on the narrative. In this particular company FY25 results, the company highlighted major administrative cost reductions alongside a large revenue decline that is carrying over since 24. So that is a cue to measure break-even mechanisms as aggressively as you measure sales. So break-even, when you have this large dependency in algorithms, is also something that you have to measure consistently and as aggressively as your sales. So here's a board move I would like you to copy now to track resilience as hard as your performance. Because resilience is not a being careful, it's designed is designing the business so it can take a hit without betting the farm. So the cost flexibility, funding clarity, fewer single point of failures, and cleaner measurement. So why tracking resilience approach really matters? So it's for three things. One is the outcome, the second is the differentiator, and three is the risk reduction. In terms of outcome, your board uses a one-page board scorecard to stress test your growth plan against an online platform shock, right? So using the same types of disclosures that UK-listed firms must make. The second thing as a differentiator, your board anchored the discussion in public reporting reality, including cost-based resets. So the conversations there stays board level and decision focused. And in terms of risk reduction, your board uses UK market structure, evidence, and the Competition and Markets Authority to keep risk language grounded in how the ecosystem actually behaves, so you avoid vague algorithm risk, hand-waving statements, right? So one action you can take home today, and it's doubled in less than 30 minutes, is write down your last 12 months of monthly revenue and then model what breaks if the next 3 months run at half the average, right? We mentioned break-even measure mechanisms to test measuring them as aggressively as your sales. So let's pause here today and reconvene tomorrow, because tomorrow I'll show you how to test revenue quality earlier before concentration and related party exposures bite you. So if you are a UK listed board member or a CFO, message me the word resilience to set up a 30-minute call to understand your position and how an advisory board can help you with one-page board scorecard templates to run the stress tests and in your next finance reviews, or how these the transitions or transformations are more resilient in the future. So have a great day and see you tomorrow. Thank you and bye-bye.